We all know that coffee is one of the highest selling commodities in the world. Many people can't even wake up without drinking a cup of coffee first. On average, 500 billion cups of coffee are consumed all around the globe every year. It may seem weird to think that this drink we usually consume on a daily basis can be good for your skin, but this staple can do wonders. Before I get into the skincare benefits, let's dive into the process coffee undergoes before reaching consumers. The coffee beans, which are actually coffee seeds, are planted in large beds of shaded nurseries. While coffee plants generally thrive best in slightly acidic soil, they have been known to grow just fine in soil with pH balances of 4 to 7. When the seedlings are ready for permanent planting, they are transferred to a larger field, usually during the wet season. Typically, there's one major harvest a year, as coffee trees take about 3 to 4 years to bear fruit. When the coffee cherries are ripe, they turn bright red, signaling that they're ready to be picked. In many countries, the process of harvesting is very long and arduous, as they pick the coffee cherries by hand. But in some places like Brazil, the harvesting has become mechanized. An experienced picker can pick up to 200 pounds of coffee cherries a day, which results in about 40 pounds of coffee beans. There are two possible methods of processing coffee cherries. The wet method. This method involves a pulping machine to separate the pulp from the seed, water channels to separate them by weight, a series of rotating drums that separate them by size, and then placing the beans into a water-filled fermentation tank. After living in the fermentation tank for about 12 to 48 hours, these beans are ready to be dried, either by the sun or by a giant tumbling machine. The dry method. This is an old age method of processing coffee beans in which the freshly picked cherries are spread out on a tarp and left to dry in the sun. Someone will be there to periodically rake through them so that they don't remain moist. Depending on the weather, this process could take up to several weeks for each batch of coffee. These dried beans, called parchment coffee, must now go through the process of hulling, in which the exocarp, mesocarp, and endocarp of the dried cherry are removed. After hulling, the beans are graded and sorted by weight, size, color, and imperfections. After all of that is done, the coffee beans can be exported, tasted, roasted, and then finally ground. So how exactly does coffee benefit your skin? It is said that the caffeine content in coffee can dilate the blood vessels beneath the skin, thus reducing the appearance of cellulite. For this same reason, coffee can also treat dark under-eye circles. Raw coffee cherries contain a compound called trigonylene. When the coffee beans are roasted, this compound is broken into niacin, aka vitamin B3. Niacin can help prevent non-melanoma skin cancers and other skin growths. Coffee contains chlorogenic acid, or CGA, as well as melanoidins, which may contribute to the anti-inflammatory effects it has when used on the skin. The CGAs in coffee are not only anti-inflammatory, but they're also antibacterial. Combine those with the natural exfoliation of coffee grounds, and you have the perfect recipe to fight acne. The antioxidants in coffee can provide a calming effect when used topically. There are pre-made coffee masks that you can buy at the store, but I decided to try out a DIY coffee face mask of my own to demonstrate the benefits it provides for skin. I looked up a recipe on Google by Kelly from Primally Inspired, and it was only 2 ingredients: ½ teaspoon of coconut oil and ½ teaspoon of coffee grounds. When I was making this, I totally thought the recipe called for a tablespoon of each, so I made too much, but it's fine. Putting straight coconut oil and coffee grounds on my face felt a little weird, so that's why I look like I'm straight up not having a good time. After I rinsed off the mixture, my skin actually felt really smooth and almost looked like it was glowing. I'm not sure when people started using coffee grounds for skincare, but I'm glad we can use it now. The coffee plant can be more diverse than we are aware, and we should appreciate these plants for all that they give us.